And welcome back to Who Would Win. Today's Who Would Win comes for us from Akeem Reese, who asked the question, who would win a fight, MCU Iron Man or Movieverse Optimus Prime? This one to me does come off as not a no-brainer, but this one seems a bit more obvious. I mean, Optimus Prime is an Autobot. He is a sentient robotic being, and he's got all the physical capabilities of said individual. I mean, his actual size I tried to look up. I couldn't find it per se. He's big, sure, but he's not that big he's not like hundreds of stories tall or anything like that. Like Optimus Prime movie size, like what, size, like, how big do they have? So they have Optimus Prime, roughly speaking, at about 28 feet tall. And that seems to scale up to what we see in the movies, roughly. I mean, sometimes he does appear a bit bigger, sometimes he might not be as big, but either way, he does come off roughly speaking, in that size range. He's got all the physicality of a being of that size, physical build, all, biology, if you will, or technology, because he can lift trucks, lift other Transformers who weigh thousands of, or hundreds of tons, not hundreds of tons, but tons upon tons, multiple tons of weight. As Optimus's actual weight is, and you can use this basically to kind of, compare it to other Transformers. Granted, there are Transformers that are bigger than him, too. That's the thing. But weight is, roughly speaking... Do we have a weight? What does Optimus Prime weigh? Weight is somewhere in the 4,300 kilograms. So, I mean, he's big, but he's not anything huge. He's not, he could not take on Godzilla, for example, who was hundreds of feet tall, even in his smallest form. Of course, I guess that's a who would win for a different day. But again, we are talking movie Optimus. But that being said, the movie Optimus is still a 1,000-year-old warrior, has the battle experience of ages on his side, has numerous weapons, including his ion blaster, his energon swords. He wields a standard great sword. I can't remember the name of that. As the movies go on, he can fly on his own when he needs to. And Optimus can take a serious hit. I mean, it took basically them blowing out his chest to kill him in, I think the second one. That's where they killed him. Again, I don't love the Transformers movies very much. Actually, the only one I haven't seen in theaters was Revenge of the Fallen. That was the only one I didn't see in theaters. I saw all the other ones, unfortunately. Actually, that's not true. Bumblebee's actually pretty good. And the first one is okay. It's not great, but it's okay. And I was at least tolerant of Extinction. Didn't love it, but I was tolerant. Last Night was bad. And yeah, Revenge of the Fallen, not Revenge of the Fallen, Dark Side of the Moon had a good action sequence in Chicago. That was about it. Anyway, but yeah, Optimus, he's got plenty of weapons on his side. It's just a matter of, taking on his opponent. And normally he's fighting, beings his actual size. In this case, he'd be fighting Iron Man, a guy who's in a suit that gives him about, 6 foot some odd range in terms of his size. But the upside of Iron Man is if we're looking at MCU Iron Man, we'd have to look at his most powerful suit by the end of, the series, which would be his, one of his I can't remember the exact type of suit, which marker he had at that point. But it's basically similar to the Bleeding Edge armor, where it was the nanite suit. Now, that suit was strong enough to take shots from Thanos, even survive, hits from the Power Stone, albeit it was, being worn down by the Power Stone, but still he was able to create a shield at the time, and with the nanites, and take some of the energy, although the shield was being crumbled away, so he upgraded to an energy shield. He was able to take a hit from parts of a moon and be generally fine. The guy can, could take hits from Thanos. His suit was highly durable. In the comics, he can survive hits from nuclear blasts. Durability-wise, his suit's got it going on. The nanite suit obviously enhances his strength as well, capable of lifting God knows how much weight. I have no doubt if he needed to, he could lift Optimus if he had to. In fact, I could guarantee you he could lift Optimus. We saw him moving something much bigger than that in Infinity War, albeit it was on a planet whose gravity was in flux. So take that for what that's worth. Obviously, his suit's also armed with his repulsor blasts from his arc reactor that he no longer has in his chest, but he has just outside his chest that helps create the suit. And those blasts are powerful enough to blow holes in metal. Concussive, just knock someone out. They are extremely powerful blasts of energy. But then again, what his suit is really good for and specifically designed for is the fact that it's all nanite based. As long as he can think it and the suit is technologically capable of doing it, he can create it. He's created hammers. He's created I don't want to say gravity weaponry, but it was like I'm trying to remember exactly. I know what he created. I just don't know the name of it. Basically, it's that thing he used to kind of latch onto Thanos's, I think it was his hand, and keep his hand grounded to the ground. I can't remember what that was exactly, but he could basically create something to lock someone up. He created like an energy cannon. It was like an energy. God. Not an energy gauntlet per se, but basically he created something similar to the energy gauntlet and just punched Thanos in the face with it. In Endgame, he created those super conductive energy blasts that focused energy into the Thor focused lightning into it, and he just created a concentrated blast of energy. These things that were moving independently of him. If he can think it and the nanites can actually make it, it will be made. So it's a very versatile tech. And it comes with still the standard fare that Iron Man suit did come with: flares, repulsor, explosives, the works. It still comes with those, but it's because now you can just make it on the fly. Tony is still is arrogant by the end of the movie series. He really did come into his own and just learn to put aside his needs for the common good. He's still also a very good strategist, despite the fact that he can get into some hot water. He's still very intelligent, and therefore he is his AI, in this case Friday, is very capable of helping set up strategy and analyzing tactics. So if these two came to blows, A, what would it be? Why would they come to blows? And B, who would win in the fight? Well, for me, A, why would they come to blows? I think Optimus could see Tony as a threat, possibly siphoning off technology he's not supposed to siphon, or learning from technology he's not supposed to. Autobot, Cybertron technology. And Tony's refusal to give it up, like he would be the reason they come to blows. If you've actually seen Bat and the Sons fight with them, it's actually a very realistic way of how that fight would kind of set up. But that said, when Optimus comes in, fires an energy blast at him. Tony goes flying. Was like, okay, I guess we're doing this now. And then comes in and they start fighting. Tony's going to be staying at long distance as long as he can. Optimus is trying to fire but can't get at him. So it's kind of a stalemate for a little bit because I don't think any of Tony's main blasts are going to do a lot of damage to Optimus due to the fact that Optimus is much larger and has a lot of durability to him, admittedly. Now, once he gets to Unibeam and gets into swords and blades too, I forgot that because that's how Thanos ran him through. If Tony wants to get in close, which he might want to, he will, create a blade and start getting in close and start tearing into Optimus, getting in more concentrated blasts and hits. But being in close means Optimus can now actually get hits in on him, assuming he can catch him. Which I do believe Optimus, just times it right and just lands a shot at him. Tony goes flying, and it's like, it is over. You will not take my planet's knowledge for yourself, human. And to be fair, Optimus does have a thing where doesn't want to kill humans, although he broke that in the movieverse when it came to movie 4. So I guess he really doesn't care that much. So he comes in with the Energon blade, just to slice Tony. Tony's suit could take it to a certain degree. Tony's blocking it. He gets out of the way and just now it's like, okay, fine, we're doing this now. And blocks with an energy shield. The Energon and the energy shield. Hell, maybe that's where the energy shield came from, is Energon. Do clash with each other. And, they kind of boom ricochet. Tony goes flying back, but now he's like, all right, enough of this bullshit. And he basically kind of tries to do the Leviathan technique he does in Avengers, where he just runs through Optimus. Unfortunately, Optimus isn't going to just take that easy. And, he runs into Optimus, and he is starting to, he almost goes through Optimus, but it's like Optimus like, ugh, grabs him, just starts. It's like, this is over. You have lost. Ugh. It's like, yeah, flares, and then, blinds Optimus, and finally just comes in, just, yeah, you're right, Tin Man, this is over. Using both, blades on his hand, just gets into Optimus's face and just right in his face, eyes, and just like, and takes out his eyes. Optimus, I think, would still be around because, again, they don't function the same way biologically we do, so taking out his eyes wouldn't kill him per se. And then just finally, Tony's just like, all right, nothing, all right, time to say goodnight, Gracie, and then just blasts Optimus's head clean through into like the orbital cavity with just like a seriously high-powered unibeam, just boom, just and just boom, drops dead. Now, Tony also could, use like Edith and just use satellites and stuff like that to overwhelm Optimus and just, take him down, I think. But ultimately, I do think Tony would win the fight, only because what we've seen in Tony's suit seems more versatile, more durable, and all around more well-equipped to handle Optimus than Optimus is to handle Tony. Optimus does not fight tiny guys like Tony very often. Therefore, it's not a fight he's naturally predisposed to. So he's already coming in at a disadvantage there. Add on to the fact that he doesn't really have anything that's special to kill Tony. I'm not saying he couldn't kill Tony. I'm not saying like an Energon sword, for example, couldn't cut Tony in half if Tony just doesn't have like the nanites left for it, if he's caught off guard, if he's completely knocked out and Optimus just wails on him for a while. Yeah, I do believe Optimus could win in that scenario, but it also factors in where he has to catch him. Tony can move at such high speeds and has such, on the battlefield, control, thanks to being able to fly around on his own, that even though Optimus can fly to some degree, it's really not by his own volition. It's usually by the aid of someone else. And even so, it's more like a rocket taking off from like NASA than it is like the actual flight like Iron Man does. Iron Man still controls the area to, the better degree in terms of, mobility and then their strategy. While Optimus is thousands of years old, I think even in this one, in the movies, he's still thousands of years old. He doesn't have that immediate on-fly analysis capabilities that, like something like an AI like Friday does. Iron Man can confront Optimus and immediately get a readings layout, energy output, all that. Whereas Optimus, while he's a sentient thinking creature, doesn't think in those terms. He thinks more like a warrior does. He thinks about strategy and, using his surroundings. Well, Tony does do that. He also uses the help of technology to analyze his surroundings and then give him like the best option. So really, it's just the fact that Optimus comes into this fight underarmed, not well prepared, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's no prep for this fight, but you know what I mean. He's just not equipped to take Iron Man out, whereas Iron Man is much more equipped to take him out. So, in my opinion, MCU Iron Man wins. But I mean, don't get me wrong, he wins the majority. There are definitely scenarios where I could see Iron Man losing the fight and Optimus taking the win. Like I said, if he's able to grab Tony, throw him down and just not. If Tony gets knocked out at all, Optimus will win because he can just now pound on him completely until the armor is just completely busted. Blast him, Energon sword him, all of that. I do think there's also scenarios where Tony's cockiness, even though by the end of the game he was a lot less cocky, could be his undoing, where he unfortunately gets hit and cuts into his armor and maybe even like loses a chunk of his organs or something like that. So there is scenarios where Iron Man would lose and Optimus would win. But if you're asking me the majority, I go MCU Iron Man. But that is just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you feel different, and if you do, that's cool. Who do you got to win this? And why do you got Optimus to win this? Just let me. It's all cool. We're all here to have fun. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Hit that bell if you want to be notified. Thanks for watching. I'll see you folks next time. Later.